been a minute. Um, hey everyone, I'm trying to come here to talk. You know, um, I'm just lounging. I had such a tiring day. You know, when I first started, I never got done. So, you know, um, there's things you got to kind of work on in life. Um, when you have to deal getting your children, um, there's certain things that has a pattern in life, and you have to be able to catch things, especially when you're dealing with narc abuse. You got to catch it. And so when you catch it, you have to remember that you have to be in control of your life. Whatever decisions that you are making, things that you're not hearing or that you're hearing, you have to be real with what you're hearing and what you're not hearing. And you always take it to the Most High. Because it's just people that I don't know. And you know what? When you don't know, you ain't worried about it. And so, never let anything worry you. You always take it to the Most High. And so I'm just chilling, It's my favorite place. They're like, where is this at? This is actually the mall. I mean, and just chill out and see what else going on. I don't want just to make sure that this is where I'm going to be, you know, um, you know, um, a lot of times my kids, be here for my visits. So, you know, especially when you're dealing with the food court, what you want, Okay, we all come here all the time to shop. Nah, I do. So, I know just decided to do things on my own, and not that I haven't, but things geared to what needs to be done and what the Most High has for me. And people can't understand. They want the control, and you're saying for what? You know, you're wondering why do you feel like you need to control me, and then are you sure someone's gonna control you, or are you just you know what I mean? No one control. There's only so much that can be done, but when you're doing things for the Most High, they can't. They can't. The Most High. Satan has these abilities of deceiving people to make them think I'm winning, I'm doing things, and that's a spirit of pride. You think you can do evil and get away with it? I'm telling you, you got a life lesson to learn. Because, like he said, do not be deceived. God is not to be mocked. So as a man, so what? So shall he receive. So, never mind me. You know what I mean? You know, um, it's just been a tiring day, kind of dreary, no sun. You know what I mean? It's just getting down to the basis of how many times, how many times do I have to take psychological tests? You know, how many times, you know, that I put on a show of what people perceive as crazy or looking crazy. If I take all my hair out, and cut it short, you know. Would that help you believe that I'm crazy? That I look older? I look older. Now what? I done it all. I done it all. You know what I mean? So, we're not doing anything to impress anybody, but it's just an observation. You know, it's an observation of even when people are wanting what they want, they still not happy. They still not happy. Y'all seen, I took all my hair, go back and look at all them channels. I took all my hair out. You know what I mean? I tried to, it was longer than that, but I had cut the perm because I'm just seeing, I was addicted to the creamy crack. And so when you put the perm in there every month or whatever, so every month and a half, you know what I mean, it costs. And it's just a part of me that I needed to stop. I'm trying, and it's taking a lot of time to get used to my natural hair, but I don't care. You know, I'm not letting hair stop me from whoever I am. And I'm always me all the time. So, you know, people um, want to misjudge you because they're not understanding. And people say you tell too much, and you know, you got to stop being paranoid because I tell too much on purpose. When I tell too, well, what you perceive as too much. If a person is a spirit of lying, I say you lying. They're still going to lie. So if I say you, I'm trying to think of some stuff because I don't know. You, you hate too much. If I say you're hating, you might try to stop it for a little bit, and then you can't. You know, you got your people who keep want to keep track of you, and they can't stand it. They have to be the life of the party. Whatever they thought they was, when I come around, dang. When I come around, if they got to manipulate and misuse the system to hate on me, that wasn't it. Because I could be myself, my own personal self. And when you listen to the narcissist constantly try to dictate to you, uh, what they want the world to perceive them or you, it's pretty much them telling them about themselves. And so, I've been, going through these things, try to tell people, try to get help, was financial. I got the mental. I'm still gonna take my mental evaluations. I mean, honestly, I did tell the judge, no, I'm not, because you ain't doing what I asked. Get me housed. Quit letting other people tell you what I'm doing that don't know me. You know what I mean? Quit letting other people run to you and dress very nice and seem well put together and talk so properly. And yet those are the ones, the harassers. Those are the gang stalkers. So, you know what I mean? And, people don't care as long as they see the money. And that's something that just flies through your pocket when you're hustling. That you have to question. God, I know you said pay my tithes, but you don't always have to pay your tithes in cash. You can pay your tithes. The Bible says by helping the homeless, feeding them, and clothing them. So I need to make a segment on it. Excuse me, my eyes are a little tired. I probably need to give me some glasses. I'm getting up there, so you got to you know, it's more of that God puts me here because He knows that I'm not afraid. I'm afraid of no one. You know, and when people are doing things, because when you deal with gang stalking, proxy box stalking is the name that you would use if you're talking to anyone from criminal justice or the police. Okay, because otherwise they're gonna think you. But when you say that, they know you know what you're talking about. Anyway, don't let nobody make you feel crazy. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. That's the thing. That you got to know what you're saying. You got to be alert of what you're doing. You know what I mean? And because I was carrying a suitcase around in the big part of Georgia, Atlanta, Marietta, Georgia, that makes me nuts. Even though there's several different people carrying a suitcase, you know, um, you know, and when I can't always afford what's that called, storage units, and I know how that went. You know what I mean? They wanted me to put my stuff in storage units, so whoever down from where I last was in Illinois come up here and do all that crazy stuff. You know, putting roaches in your homes. You know, the crazy stuff. It's just crazy. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? They was hard to defeat me, because I can tell I got my roach in my traveling bag, my raid, because raid works the best since I got to sit up here and talk about gang stalking. Raid is a better one, and it could have been the hotel manager. So now, in the place that I usually stay in weekly, I don't want to stay there because I don't want roaches in my things. I'm not a dirty, unclean person. And there's people who say, "What? Girl, you worrying about a few roaches?" Yeah, that's why I'm outside. If I'm gonna be dealing with roaches, you know what I'm saying? That's why I'm outside. And it's not just that. It's just I pay my good money. I pay money to be in a decent place that they said that they can have. We ain't talking about some project place. We talking about decent places where people really live. Why am I putting my money here? I might as well just sleep outside. You know what I mean? And so that's not something of a choice. It's just something of realizing that the more that I have to go through this, that financially, I can't afford to keep sleeping in places where I'm paying good money and I'm still not getting the quality. I ain't taking that. I don't care about Target or none of that. I ain't taking it. And so, the people who sitting here with these agencies, they just get nervous that I get on here. They still trying to spoon feed words in my mouth. You know what I mean? They just I'm just their chewy toy like a dog. I go move here and they so want me to move somewhere else. Why do they want me to move somewhere else? So they can get a grant, so they can start all over again with their whole lineup, come back from wherever they came from. Because, somewhat, when you're exposing these narcissists or these gang stalkers, they have to go home. Because if you're understanding the play of their game, they can't be here. And they already scared of you because they saying, why are you still here? How is you still here? Well, you understand the play of that game. When you understand the play of that game, and you're just sitting back there not saying nothing, some things, you got to ask the Holy Spirit. But you just sitting there just letting them just tear you apart. No. No, you better put a nail in that chewy toy. Because I'm trying to tell you. It's just some people out here that, that's the club of being a narc. They love to try to destroy you. So I'm not caring how people feel about me. I haven't been called crazy before, but my thing is, crazy is saying something that doesn't exist. You're just delusional. You're just assuming that things are happening. You know what I mean? Like I'm live. I'm assuming I'm alive, but I'm on a live on my cell phone. But it could be someone using technical gadgets to make me think that this is being broadcasted, because I don't never see my chat. Let's see. I got hiccups. Only person I see is Pretty Girls Club. I got hiccups. Because I just now ate, and it's been hours that I have to sit on a couch, sit on a couch and try to explain this thing because people don't believe that I'm aware. Because people are shocked. Like you aware of what's going on? And I don't know everything. Some things I don't want to know. But that's what we doing here. That's right. Y'all like my hair? I did it, and it looked like it too. Cause yeah, I was trying. I be trying. You know what I'm saying? Hey, if it fall out, I'm gonna pick it right back up. But I got the hiccups. So hiccup. Only good thing is the kids went back to school. Some of them here they go now. You know. So I spent a good chunk of my day doing this, sitting on the couch. Um, Sitting on the couch, sitting on the couch, telling them why I'm not having taken my life. You know what I mean? You haven't took. Why you ain't took your life? I mean, they not never gonna say that, but I always quote Bible scriptures that God's given me the power to endure, or He'll bring you out. You whatever you think you can't get past, when you trust in the Most High, you can get past it, or He'll just take you out. That's why I say He'll just take you out. So, it's a little long, but hey, you know what I mean? When you can't trust nobody. The last time I had my hair braided, and I don't believe I'm going back there. Um, you know, I mean, we all have our different cultures. Because the African lady show, she was like, she snatched the hell out of my hair, and I said, I don't think I'm coming back there. I ain't coming back there. I feel like I had 2 strands of hair when I was gone with her. 'Cause I'm like, Lord, I said, too heavy, because I don't know their language. And she was like, here, grab this and do it. You know what I'm saying? Okay. But you gotta tell people. You gotta tell people that, you know what, you too heavy handed. You too heavy handed. No, don't be no crybaby. No. So I just thought I'd get on because I don't know if I can get on. Yesterday I kind of cut it short because I was tired. you know, I couldn't even get the prayer out, but I prayed a little bit after I took my nap. Trying to figure out what my kids are doing. You know, as far as schooling, because I'm not here to help them. With school, and I don't know, what they're enduring. Because I'm a fighter for my children now. Going to school and making sure if they have any problems, call me. Anything with the teachers, call me. And so that's just some of the things that I've been going through. And people think, I'm just vibing with people. You know what I mean? I can't never see my chat. I know. That's what I'm trying to say. Come say no. I can't even. Yeah. Um, You know what I mean? Know what I mean? So, I'm just on here. Like I said, I'm not doing anything. You know, I'm telling you, my eyes is tired. I ain't never ashamed of none of that. None of that. You know what I mean? This is me. And so, I just kind of shy off social media. I'm in my normal every day, every day, being here, being over there, and I love, I still love uh, some content creators. There's, I think I'll be giving out shout outs. You know, you know what I mean. I still have yet to see like brainwaves in them. You haven't seen them, and I know they got family and everything. So I like to call him my brother, but I don't, yeah, because he was helping. Uh, he helped me with my car. We went to that jamboree thing, and he's a true writer. You can't put too much on people, but you know. And sometimes I chime in and look, but I'm not really gonna be um, engaging on the social media site too much because um, I have to be attentive of what's been put upon me for right now, and understand that I don't want to be putting myself in situations or other people. And I just enjoy the content and keep it moving. I ain't saying nothing. I'm just watching. Some people I do because I see, but I know social media always has their protocol on things, and so that's why I don't really get on here because it's some of it's genuine and some of it's like okay, you know what I mean. Stay. Yeah, I don't. You're not gonna see too much on here, and then other things that I got coming, which I don't know that I have. Um, People try to make me because they want to get in my business of wanting to know what am I doing, or trying to coerce me into doing things because they're tired of trying to handle me. You know what I mean? Because I'm a hard woman to handle. You know what I mean? So it's people out here who really want. I'm saying, as told, let's keep it real. As told down as I was, you know, still I can't. I be trying to get rid of it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know, you know. I have people thinking that I make things up, even on my Twitter site. My Twitter site. Certain things are. You have to understand. Certain things on my Twitter site, even on YouTube, have been staged. Um, and and when you do that, I don't know. I'm just gonna leave it at that. So you know, but I could tell. There's certain things I can tell, and certain things I'm trying out. So it's just you could kind of tell. The ones who know me, and it's very rarely somebody know me, and then there's ones that want to make me the McDonald's chick. You know what I mean? Slicing. Only thing I'll be slicing is hamburger meat, French fries, and mashed potatoes or whatever. I don't. You know. You know. I don't steal. I don't kill. I borrow. I might borrow a French fry and then spit it back out. You know what I mean? But God's been good to me. For what I didn't have, He makes it. I don't have to steal. I have my own technique of getting what I want, and I ain't stealing. I just ask, and even if it ain't that, somebody work around and say, "Well, I got something similar to this," and then I'll be like, "That's what I wanted." You know what I mean? So that's me, and I'm kind of tired, so I'm about to log off. I just, you know, I just feel like that I kind of been at a distance because I got so much going on, and still, whoever sees it sees it. I don't have a double life on Twitter. Um, I just kind of feel it because I don't know for what Twitter used to be years ago. Oh my God, it's not the same. I mean, by now I have like just about every celebrity following me, but I don't know. I guess because people sue people, so it's a little different. And it's also you got to make sure you following. If you're talking about that person, make sure you're following that person. 'Cause they got so many different things. And sometimes I wonder, are you sure you? You know what I mean? Because everybody trying to hustle. Let me say that again. Everybody trying to hustle. And so that's kind of how you would have to be when you're dealing with Twitter. But there's some people that's still on there. That's cool. I don't get hyped up on celebrities, but it's amazing when someone is saying something, it is them, you know, because some people be trying to be that person. Then you it's like, all right, you know what I mean? But no, I'm not all about celebrities, but I don't know those people. I don't know the mother people. Sometimes you got to be careful with who you follow on social media. So some of them be trying to, use them things, them apps and things. So that's why I kind of don't talk to them. If it ain't someone that I'm known of, I don't bother with them. So that's just something because I see a lot of people don't be on Twitter, but I mean, it used to be popping back in the day. It used to be popping back in the day, but I was married at the time. I was married at the time, so I stay off. Stay off. You know what I mean? So for whatever you could want, you know, you could have, because some of them they down to earth people, and so that's how I treat them. I treat everybody the same, whether you're a celebrity or not. But it's just some people they messed it up. I could tell, and so that's it. This is just me. This is just as much as I'm gonna be personable, because I mean, for now I'm tired, so it's almost dark. All right, so I'm gonna get off here. I don't know if I'm getting on later. Um, be good, trust in the Lord, and know He's your Savior. You know, you know, don't let anything shake you off of serving the Most High. Nothing. You hear me? All right. All right, I'm about to get off here. I'm just waiting for this notification to get off. All right. Blessings to all y'all. Bye.